All right, I think we're ready to go. Let's see. Let's make sure we are live. L Boogie reaction the building. Man, oh man, I tell you, but I do apologize for the stream the other night. Man, I was just rambling and ranting, and some topics I'm well versed in, and then some topics I'm not. But for the most part, shout out to everybody that's been tuning in. Applause to you all once again. Yeah, man, I was watching a video last night though, and I said, man, I want to react to it for the most part. And in this DEI topic, man, I think it's one of those heavy topics that aligns also, almost with everything that went on with Charlie Kirk. And then on top of that, it aligns also with, the overall agenda that was placed on the people with the Charlie Kirk situation. So we'll wait for people to come in or whatever. Let's see. I'm gonna try to pull up my Instagram. Like I said, I don't really like to show nobody's personal information per se, but I do have some stuff in my inbox on there that I could talk about a little bit. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Devontae Hits, and that's folk right there. That's bruh. Yeah, man, this is it's unfortunate, right? Because it's not only the mass shootings that have been reported as of lately. It's not only the mass shootings that have been reported as of lately. It seems as if there is a lot more things to be upset about. I think that it's just tailoring into the fact that, things like freedom of speech, laws being changed, everything just starting to look different. You know what I mean? So like I got a lot of different stuff I could go over right here. We can start on some of this stuff. So one of the definite situations I've been, hearing about is most definitely this right here, where there's a connection. People are connecting the dots. They want to know what's going on with Charlie Kirk, what happened in that situation. So we back on that, man. We definitely back on that. Make sure y'all sub up to the channel. Let's go, man.
What's your thoughts? It's interesting. Note that 250 U.S. state legislators are currently in Israel. Now watch what Charlie was talking about.
Looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
So this was the topic as well for when I was when the Diddy situation came out. There was a lot of talk, a lot of speculation about the fact that Diddy was down with the blackmail operation that had a lot to do with our government, allegedly. And there was a guy that cracked the code on. Let me see if I can find it in my stuff. I'm gonna move this out of the way for a second while I locate it, because it was very interesting to hear. Basically, let me see. I think I have to go to my page first on Instagram. Then I can go to, hold on, here it goes. Then I have to go to my saved stuff. Let me see if I can find that post real quick. Because this post kind of explained, I'm gonna just say allegedly what Jeffrey Epstein had involved alongside everyone else that's involved with this blackmailing operation, where they get dirt on people, and once they got the dirt on them, and it involves them doing all of that weird stuff with children and stuff like that allegedly, and now they got something on them, but a lot of that stuff, it doesn't come out. You know what I mean? You just still stuck on wondering, speculating, but it never truly comes out. All right, let me locate this. It's probably a whiles down in my saved stuff. Hold on. No, that's not it. It's not it. Shout out to y'all, man, the people that's tuning in, man. Make sure y'all subbing up to the channel if you haven't already, though. Make sure you sub up to the channel if you haven't already. I just don't want to show no one's profiles and stuff. I'm just trying to find. Let me go to my. It's not saved. Oh yeah, let me go to this mechanic wheel. Apps and websites. That's why I don't really do Instagram. Sometimes it's just too difficult to find stuff. Shout out to the people that's watching. We're gonna get back into it in just a second. Maybe I should have had it pulled up. But it look like it's. Let's see it. Make sure y'all subbing up to the channel. Okay, hold on. Here we go. There go my save, my archive stuff. Let me locate. I'll have someone to be able to give a little more in-depth conversation about what had took place. We still have it. Where is it at? Where is it located at? Where did it go? 1 second. Uno momento. Wow, man. See, they must have took God's page down, but basically it was about the blackmail operation. Let's look up CIA blackmail. Man, I forgot that content creator's name. Why do everything I'm trying to like keep up with it, I always get missing? Because people pages get knocked down, conversation gets, kicked out of the way. So then you gotta go locate it and then you can't find it. It's unfortunate. I definitely don't see it. I said this one. Wow, I really can't locate it. Somebody must have took it up out of there. Oh well. Oh well. All right. So back to it, man. Yeah, we're gonna get into this Charlie Kirk situation.
Give me your
This is one of those conversations where I listened to it this morning. This is from Turning Point USA, so this is his channel. And I just feel like there's a lot of pushback on black people having conversation with this guy, and I think this is what made it seem as if the guy was on some, some racist stuff based on him having conversations with black people, and they just feeling a way about it. All right, let's go.
Perspective on DEI, and because
Fair use. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. All right.
On what I heard earlier, I feel like you don't think I belong here.
Oh,
because
really? Why?
Of how I am a black man, and because of DEI, I'm not qualified enough
Are you?
to be here. Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Then you belong.
But why do I have to prove that to you?
You don't. You brought it up. I didn't.
Okay, but can you explain to me your position on DEI?
You know how it is when like you're in a room full of people that agree with Charlie Kirk, but the fact that this young man is talking to him, and he's just trying to come to an understanding of why that's always overlooked and is challenged from a perspective of, hey, there's some validation in what we're saying, but people always take it upon themselves to say, hey, man, you're just complaining, or do you need more black men in the home? So that's what this conversation is going to lead into. Let's go.
People should not be in positions just because of the color of their skin. Hard stop.
Okay, but do you feel like I'm...
All right, so I can agree with that, right? I can agree with a man saying, hey, if you're not qualified, you shouldn't be in this particular, you know. But when we add race to it, or we add religion, you know, when that diversity comes up, when that comes into perspective, that's how a lot of people get pushed out, all right? So when you hear people argue this factor, then it's kind of, it becomes a head scratcher, okay?
Because
I'm not feeling anything towards you, actually. Okay. I'm not prejudicing you. I'm not stereotyping you. I'm saying that it's a material.
I'm not saying you are. I'm not saying you are.
No, you are. You said, I don't feel comfortable being here. You started with...
I didn't say I wasn't comfortable being here. I said I feel like you made it to where I got here through DEI.
And listen, this is another thing. If this was an irrelevant conversation, then Charlie Kirk wouldn't have talking points, and then you wouldn't have black men on the other side, because they always try to bring like a race, not a race thing, but an age-based conversation into it. Like, hey, you're not even old enough to have went through those type of things. Yeah, but don't you think that some of our family went through those type of situations? Excuse me. Don't you think that some of our grandparents have given us these stories, given us these moments where they were, you know, indirectly or directly, you know, being judged, you know, before they knew who the person was, or if they felt like they had the skills, or just being based on their race or their sex?
So let's examine that. What have I said that makes you feel that way?
When you mentioned how
let's get the subs up. We got 400 watching.
Color and marginalized groups in spaces, even if they're not so and so
correct. That's exactly what DEI does.
But that's not all that it does. You're categorizing it as something it isn't.
No, that's exactly that is the charter mission.
That's not all.
Okay, so diversity, equity. So equity is outcome based. Okay. Is about making people who are of different skin colors have the same outcome, regardless whether or not they are qualified. The best example we have of this is the Students for Fair Admission Harvard Supreme Court case, where black students, they did not, literally, they could have a SAT score 300 points lesser than the Asian equivalent and still get into Harvard. That is DEI in practice. I believe when you're hiring for an organization or for a company or for whatever you are doing, you should prioritize merit and character, and race should mean nothing. We should build around things that matter and not things that don't matter.
See, that's a beautiful way to bring to, you know, to have a conversation with a man, right? So you believe, hey, it should be this way. And people should not be, you know, getting hired because of their color. They should be being hired because of their skill base, right? But what happens, okay? Think about how people are arguing like, hey, I feel qualified, but I'm a black person. There's always a rebuttal to it, right? Hey, I feel qualified. Hell, I even feel overqualified. Why am I not able to get into a better situation when it comes to my skills? Why am I being displaced in this position at a corporation or within a private sector? I can't be employed, or I can't receive a contract. Why is it so difficult for me to, you know, interact with the corporation to get paid? All right, so that's a head scratcher. That's not one of those things that you could just look past. And I think that's the topic of discussion. There are still people bringing in family. So you got nepotism, then you got relationships, you know. Majority of the time I've heard where, you know, things are just provided to people because of those things, you know, those references once again.
You have to also take into the fact that black people have only been able to completely legally be able to make profit for themselves for around 60 years. And this is no. Since
see, they hate that topic. When you go back to segregation and integration, they hate that topic of discussion because they have to.
Treat him like any other niggas around here because he ain't like any other niggas around here. You got it? You can't treat him like any other niggas around here because he ain't like any other niggas around here. You got it? You can't treat him like any other niggas around here because he ain't like any other niggas around here. You got it?
I gotta turn off the monitoring of that. I think that's what that is. Why it repeats itself like that, or it's echoing like that. All right, let's keep going. I'll figure it out.
And the Equal Rights Act of 1965. So what you're talking, there's not.
How did that? So let's talk about you. How did that impact you? How did something that happened 60 years ago impact your life?
How does something 60 years ago impact your life? And he's asking a young black man this, a black man that has heard about the struggle. He's went through the struggle, obviously, and he's trying to figure out a way to explain this, but yet it is coming off as if, you know, it isn't, it can't be effective in his life because he's got equal opportunity. It's an equal opportunity based programming in America, right? That's the topic. And I think that's where a lot of times I'm lost in that argument because, you know, I'm like, hey, that's not always accurate because people always get displaced in corporations, in private sectors of employment because of things like that. A lot of times you're going to hire the people you know, whether it be your family. They can have the skills. I'm not saying they don't have the skills. But a lot of times that's just not the case, all right? Especially when it comes to, you know, running corporations. You know, you've seen it in so many different ways where daddy's son gonna get hired, you know, he's gonna run the corporation. He's gonna be the CEO. He ain't even got the skills. But you're gonna overlook the black guy who's qualified. You're gonna overlook the Latina woman, you know, the woman that's qualified. You're gonna overlook the black woman. Everyone else gets overlooked because you're running it that way. And if that's what's going on, just say that. But a lot of times they want to overlook it and they want to, you know, challenge it like it's not like that.
It impacts me all the time.
How?
What do you? Okay.
You're at Texas A&M. You're doing great.
Okay. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So aren't you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you can just act good and, you know, behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite. If you look in the impoverished neighborhoods in certain parts of Chicago or St. Louis, there's black communities being thrown aside because they're not getting education.
Thrown aside? Okay,
yes,
so I think we
yes, because this conversation would be irrelevant if that wasn't the case. And I think a lot of times they don't want to acknowledge that that's the case, okay? Our people are still being, you know, mistreated, misguided. The education isn't the same. You know, they'll say, hey, you have an opportunity to go to a school like this, XYZ. But guess what? That school is, I don't even know how much college tuition is, but, you know, through the grapevines, I've heard things like 60, 70, 80 grand to go to school. All right. Black families don't have that type of money because they're working those entry-level based jobs, or, you know, their family might not been educated enough to explain that to their families, to where they can get to that next level of income.
Somewhere, why have the black community gotten poorer since the passage of the Civil Rights Act?
Why have black people's families gotten poorer? When we were, he said, quote unquote, you know, we were more rich in those segregated times, segregated era of America. Isn't that a head scratcher? You know what I mean? Why are we like that? It has to be by design. It can't be just because they don't want to do it. We keep making it seem as if black people don't want that type of lifestyle, even though they bust their ass. I know plenty of black men that bust their ass and they work 30, 40 years. You know, I know family indirectly that have worked, bust their ass and grinding it out, you know, and where they at? You know, they still trying to make it, all right? There is still a separation when it comes to income, all right?
Tell me that.
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the
Hold
years.
on. Think about it. So they were richer
Yeah,
when
big
we were
dog, straight
segregated and
up.
more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
America has become less racist. He said less racist?
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the
Hold on.
years.
Think about it. So they were richer when we were segregated and more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
America has become less racist. That's his statement, all right? That's Charlie Kirk's statement. America has become less racist. How does he know that? How in the hell would that man have known that America has become less racist? Go figure, man. Come on now. That's not one of them things that you hear and you can understand that. Especially when somebody and I know for a fact people be still yelling monkey and nigga out here like that. And I'm talking about white people. So it is a racist thing going on in America. That's not the case. I don't understand why that's so hard for them to say, you know, to acknowledge. It's hard for white people or people of older generations, you know, like someone said, like Charlie Kirk speaking for that old generation, right? His rhetoric is very similar to the ones that came before him. It's kind of like he's repeating it and he's speaking for that conservative right side, whatever, all right? But when you hear somebody say some shit like that, how can you verify how many people are less racist now in America? Come on, man. I can't just go for that.
Yeah, no one's going to defend what happened in Tulsa again. But let's talk. We're talking about a lot of different cities. We're talking about Chicago, Tulsa. But let's again. This is a very important point. Do you think the fact that 70% of black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important?
That's because of the culture.
All right. I really want to go and research this counterintelligence of removing I think it was something like the Black Messiah, counterintelligence Black Messiah, something like that. It was something like that. This was I know they made a movie on it about it was the Huey P. Newton, of course. He was a part of that action. And you also had not just Huey P. Newton, it was Fred Hampton. Yeah, and when they went in and they basically infiltrated the Black Panther Party, when black men were stepping up and making sure that they could fight and stand up for their families, they just wanted to make sure that their Second Amendment was being treated equally, just like the rest of the government. Okay.
The fact that 70% of black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important.
That's because of the culture.
So respectfully allow me to interject.
There is most definitely an issue going on with black men making the attempts to raise their families, especially with these feminist movements. Then of course you have the counterintelligence programs where they literally stripped black men out of the homes, or they make it difficult for them to be in the home, right? I remember a moment in time where people were talking about you can't live in the home and receive benefits from the government. I believe that has something to do with Section 8 and receiving like supplemental nutritional, for the children or whatever. So the man can't be present in the home, right? Because at that point they would say, hey, you're required to work, et cetera, et cetera. But think about it. They're still getting paid low wages, very low wages, closer to zero than closer. That's how I always explain it. Closer to $0 than to like $100 or $50 an hour, right? Where you can live and strive and survive off of that type of money. Let's just say that they paid you substantially at your job. You could take it upon yourself. Appreciate the sub, Latron Slade. You could damn sure make sure that people get paid properly at their jobs. Black, white, I don't give a damn what it is, but that's how they separate us in this country. All right.
How does the white culture impact the fact whether or not a black dad stays around when he impregnates a woman?
I'm not saying it's the white culture.
What is it?
Systematic oppression.
Perpetuated through the 200 years of slavery, the 100 years of segregation, and Jim Crow laws.
They don't like that
I
conversation.
Again. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt too much. But in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, 20% of black youth had a dad around. Now it's, 20% were single fathers, 80% had a dad around. It's been inverted. So we actually have seen black dads run away from their kids the last 60 years. Why is that?
Because of the raised incarceration rates, because of the perpetuated culture.
So how does one go to jail?
That's obvious. I'm not answering.
So maybe it's
how do black men go to jail? A lot of black men, once again, don't make enough money to feed their families, and they end up resorting to crime and violence because they want to make sure that they can take care of their kids and stuff. So I could have answered that extremely easily. Like, you want to sit up here and say that they shouldn't be committing crimes. The one thing that black men don't know how to do is know how not to get caught. Because in America, you got way more white men, I'll say, and that's allegedly, I'm going to just say allegedly, know how to get away with crime to make sure that they take care of their family to get into generational wealth. So, and so what that also says is that you have some good tax-paying citizens, and then you got some crime-ridden, fulfilling citizens, okay? That's the difference. So I'm not making it a black and white thing, but what I do understand is that a lot of times our people, we have been stripped of our equities in America, right? We have been we have been challenged in so many different ways, right? Every time you see black men taking that step, something just happens and strips them of that wealth. All right. And I got plenty of examples. Michael Jackson. Hell, I've heard of a lot of different, because they like to use these entertainers and these singers and artists and stuff like that, because he's gonna also say that on there. But think about the people that's still fighting for their wages now, even as rich as they were. Okay, let's keep going.
Because
Shit.
they committed crimes.
Okay, but
I'm talking a
when
lot.
you're forced for it's not just this is old, this is in the past, this doesn't affect you anymore.
Okay, so actually let's take a different group. How did the Holocaust impact Jews? They're doing pretty well.
Well, because they got reparations, we didn't.
How? What reparations did the Jews
Through
get?
acknowledgement, through money, through
No, we acknowledge slavery happened. So,
okay, but you're sitting here
That
acting
motherfucker said we. Hey. He said we. We acknowledge slavery. It says, yes, Jewish people received reparations in America and elsewhere, though not for anti-Semitism or on American soil, but as the result of the Holocaust. The United States, along with West Germany and other countries, supported the restitution of property and monetary compensation to Holocaust victims through agreements and legislation in the post-World War II era. Organizations like the Conference on Jewish Material Claims Against Germany, Claims Conference, were instrumental in negotiating and dispersing these funds to survivors. All right, so yes, they received reparations. See, they don't want to bring these subjects up when it comes to the black community. Why, when we start talking reparations, people want to shut us the fuck up? Why do they want to do that? That should be a head scratcher, man. I'm going to keep scratch. I got a big hole in my head from scratching my shit so damn much. Appreciate all the new subs, man. Make sure y'all keep subbing up to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, the link is in the chat. I appreciate it. All right. So support for restitution. While the U.S. did not commit the Holocaust, it played a pivotal role in advocating for and facilitating reparations for Jewish victims from Germany and other European nations. Legal frameworks. In 1947, the U.S. military government in West Germany enacted Law Number 59, the first legal framework for the restitution of Jewish property. International agreements. The U.S. supported the 1952 Luxembourg Agreement, a treaty that established a framework for German reparations payments to Holocaust survivors. Okay, so directly and indirectly received payments. The Jewish community received payments. And then, yes, they came into America and they invested their wealth. All right. So why do we keep spinning around that shit? And now the slavery that impacted America was I'm going to say it was way fucking worse. Then I'm not going to say it was way worse because people like to get sensitive when you talking and shit like that. But let's just put it side by side. Our war lasted longer. Our people were completely affected by that. Even when we did rebuild, okay, they were also stripped. You can talk about the Tulsa, Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street. Those people have already spoken about how they were stripped of their wealth and their finances in that city. All right. So why do we want to argue that? It bewilders me that we want to argue that when it comes to our black people. That's because somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it in America, man. And we have been the chosen people to do the works of America. I'm talking about the most fucked up jobs you could think of. Our people are doing those jobs to keep America going. That's a fucking fact, man. They want to argue those points because if they have to pay all of us in America, and they say we only make up 13% of the population, well, that shouldn't be a big factor. But what do? We want to take all these funds in America and send them to other countries before we even clean up what the fuck we got going on at home.
no role.
No,
now.
but to your argument, the Holocaust was 80 years ago. How? What reparations did the Jews
Through
get?
acknowledgement.
What reparations did the Jews get? You don't know about Jews receiving reparations for the Holocaust? You mean to tell me this man don't know that the Jews received reparations for the Holocaust, man? Man, I tell you, man.
How did the Holocaust impact Jews? They're doing pretty well.
How did the Holocaust impact Jews? They're doing pretty well. Well, they received fucking reparations. That's how. You didn't know that? Come on, man. I know that a majority of people in America know that the Jews received reparations for the Holocaust. But did the black people get reparations for slavery? For all of the years that we were enslaved, all of our people being displaced in America, not receiving equal rights, still not being paid properly, still not being treated properly in America. All right? And then now we got their people running around fucking shooting up public areas. Okay? But our people didn't receive reparations, and the Jews did. Okay? See, this is the bullshit that gets spewed out into our country, and then wonder why the young black boys running around here acting a fucking muck, running amok in America. They wonder why. Well, that should deliberately tell you why they running the fuck around doing the dumb shit that they doing. They're being miseducated, misguided, mistreated. Man, you know how many times I used to get ran down on by police officers growing up in America, bro? You know how many police officers ran down on me, bro? Like literally. You know how many they used to have task force just running around fucking with young black boys, trying to get them into some shit to lock them away for the rest of their lives. So that's how it impacts us today. All of the trauma that black people got to go through in America, and y'all want to just basically disowning it, you know, which is fine, because we still do what we got to do in America, right? But the fact that you don't want to acknowledge it just lets me know what type of time you on. That's what I'm saying at this point. We see what type of time you on. We see you on bullshit, basically.
Because they got reparations, we did.
How? What reparations did the Jews get?
What reparations did the Jews get?
Through money, through
No, we acknowledge slavery happened. So,
okay, but
man, these folk hilarious, man.
No, but to your argument, the Holocaust was 80 years ago.
Stop having kids if you can't afford them. Let's see what else people saying. Why the fuck should black people who weren't affected by slavery get reparations? Why the fuck did the Jews get reparations? And how you know we haven't been affected by slavery? So that's when I know that y'all just on bullshit. Y'all just talking, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to resort to crime. Guess what? But a lot of people have. And the fact that you want to make us out to be the biggest criminals when we learn how to be gangsters from the gangster white boy movies is even more hilarious, okay? See, that's the problem, bro. Y'all don't want to acknowledge it, because when you acknowledge it, you have to take accountability for your fucked up actions. That's what you got to do. Nah, that's a myth right there, Nathan Duell. Africans had nothing to do with slavery. The history has also been twisted and spent up by your folk. So the fact that you sitting here arguing me lets me know that you've been miseducated as well. All right? Yeah, I ain't making excuses for blacks. But for the most part, you people like to goddamn take a moment of yourselves and say, oh, my people aren't doing this. We never did these types of things. Well, that just lets me know that you can't own up to your own bullshit. Plain and simple, man. It don't got nothing to do with me. It got everything to do with you, man. You know? No, you just need to get out the chat, bro. Just leave. You ain't got to stay here, man. Get up out the chat, bro. Peace. Get your ass up out of here.
Half of all the Jews on the planet were killed. Everything they earned was taken. Jews are doing great. If all of a sudden something that happened 80 years ago impacts your material prosperity, how did Jews define?
See, I think on the surface level, when it comes to a lot of these topics, people get butthurt about shit, right? But when we start talking shit, it's an issue. See, y'all can talk y'all shit, but when we talk our shit, it's a problem. Bro, we see you, bro. That's what I'm trying to tell you. We see you, brother. We see how you moving out here. All right? Yeah, but hey, look at this. You see that thumbnail at the bottom of my screen? You see that thumbnail at the bottom of my screen? We don't go around killing innocent people. We ain't going around doing that, unaliving innocent people. But yeah, go ahead, man. Y'all obviously want to get it out. Get it out, man. You're frustrated. Keep it going, bro.
The curve. How did poor Asians do so
Expose
well?
yourself, brother.
Asians are now the wealthiest minority in America, many of whom came with no money in the 1950s or 60s.
See, y'all be waiting on times like this to talk. Y'all be waiting on moments like this to express yourselves because obviously it hurts to be honest about shit. See, we got to own up to our shit, right? Yeah, gang violence, all of that shit. Yep, you damn right. Our people got to own up to all of that. But what about your people? Well, get out of here, bro. You don't have to stick around, bro. You don't have to stick around, bro. Peace. You don't kill innocent people. Statistics say otherwise. I ain't killed nobody. And I don't walk around killing white people. I don't go around killing innocent people. I ain't never killed a black man. How about that one? I work for everything I got. See, the fact that I'm over here holding the mirror up, you getting offended, you getting defended. You want to get so defensive. I ain't defending anything. That's your words. All right? But I ain't gonna read y'all shit too much more. If you want to talk to me, bro, if you want me to respond, you gotta pay up, man. All right.
The culture and opportunities that were provided to them.
But you're not hearing me out. Black Americans have had the same opportunities. However,
people still look at us like criminals every day.
Hold on, but like I don't look at you like a criminal.
You said you act like black people do no wrong at all. Hey man, now that's some victim shit right there.
You don't want me to be politically correct. Okay, do black people commit more crimes than white people? It's not even close.
Hey, you heard the crowd? Do black people commit more crimes than white people? Yes.
Okay.
Hey, where do we learn how to commit those gangster type of crimes from? Where we get that shit from? Y'all know we grew up watching Scarface and all of your great mobster movies, bro. Y'all know we grew up on that type of shit, right? Y'all know that, right? What y'all think? Asking for a handout when slavery didn't happen during your lifetime. See, man, y'all be really showing y'all true colors. Go ahead, keep typing, man. The meek, it is what it is. Let's keep going, man. I love it.
Okay, got it. So we can agree on this. Do you mean internal black culture?
It's not. It's deeper than that. Like,
do you think? Let's take time out.
See, I think y'all love to see us cry and weep and shit like that, and that's why I don't do that. I don't do that shit. I'm gonna keep talking my shit. I'm gonna keep walking my shit because I notice how y'all like to talk when you get a moment, especially behind them avatars with them letters, man. I see how y'all be acting, and it's cool. That's why I just talk my shit, bro. I keep it going. The first slave owner was a black guy, man. You really believe that garbage, man? See, you've been hoodwinked and bamboozled as well, man. But I love it, though. Let's keep going, man. I love this type of topic.
Artist that a black kid in the hood is listening to
gets the blood pumping, I see.
Family and saving your money.
That's what sells because it's a culture thing. It's not just within the black community.
I agree. No, but hold on.
Everyone listens to it. It's not just isolated.
It's bad for everyone who listens to it. The point being is that black youth, as they are being raised. And
see, that's another thing. The fact that y'all in the chat talking that shit like that just lets me know, man, racism still exists. Hey, that racism is burning through your skin. Y'all can't even stop it. Yeah, most definitely. Who's spamming? Now, let's get them up out of here. Don't be spamming my chat, man. Stop spamming my shit like that. Where's my mods at? We ain't got no mods in the building. The first slave owner was black, man. Get your ass up out of here, man. You're mad, you're wrong. Bro, you are very emotional, Nathan. Dude, get up out of here, man. See, we ain't even got to do that. You can watch from the bushes, player. You want to cry that much? Take your ass to the bushes, boy. All right. Let's keep going, man. It's documented. Man, do y'all really believe that shit y'all be looking at in the books, man? See, I could go into a lot more details about all these types of topics, right? And just show how certain books, certain conversations, all of that type of shit is just fabricated. But y'all like to go with the books that your people wrote. I don't read them fucking books, man. I go with what I can see. I can use my own eyes, use my own ears, and make my own speculations. I take it with a grain of salt, man, you know. So where you get your information, bro? Y'all just emotional today, boy. But I see, man, that when the topic like this come out, people want to express who they really are, man. That's all that is. I don't know if y'all bots or real people, you know. Y'all got letters up or whatever, but let's keep going, man, because this obviously gets the blood boiling. It's on the internet. And get your goofy ass on. Boy, y'all is hilarious, man.
Are largely not glorifying staying with one woman, getting married, going to
love how y'all, man, let me stop. Y'all want to talk?
If you're wrong, show me the
hit
black
the fucking
models that are doing that. There might be a
hit the
couple
link,
I could
man.
think of, maybe. But if it's about culture, you're right. The internal black culture has collapsed the last 60 years. We're no longer elevating.
And see, that's the thing. See, the fact that people are very confident in saying the black culture has collapsed in the past 60 years. I wonder why. Let's pull up shit like this. Since y'all want to keep running your mouths, okay? Let me see. Let me put the spotlight on it. Let me make this a little. Let's go, man. Now this is a program that was created by the FBI. What I found and what lawyers found was that there was about 1 million pages of FBI documents with my name on it. They wanted to tear down my character. Within 1 year of the formation of the Black Panther Party, the FBI established a special counterintelligence program called COINTELPRO to neutralize political dissidents. Between the years 1956 and 1971, the FBI used the COINTELPRO program to investigate radical national political groups for intelligence that would lead to involvement of foreign enemies with these groups. This, of course, meant that the FBI specifically targeted American citizens. According to COINTELPRO documents, 5 groups were singled out for investigation: the Communist Party, the Socialist Workers' Party, white hate groups, black nationalist hate groups, and the New Left. The Black Panther Party was specifically targeted and bore the brunt of the most damage. According to FBI documents, one of the purposes of the COINTEL program was to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize the activities of the black nationalists. They wanted to prevent the rise of a black messiah, and Martin Luther King Jr. had been amongst the candidates until his assassination in 1968, when the attention shifted to Huey P. Newton. One of the 295 documented actions taken by COINTELPRO to disrupt black groups, 233 were directed against the Black Panther Party. In his doctoral thesis, War Against the Panthers, a study of repression in America, Newton accused J. Edgar Hoover and COINTELPRO of fostering a split between Eldridge Cleaver and himself through false letters and documents, creating discord between the BPP and other black groups such as Ron Karenga's group United Slaves, which led to the murders of Apprentice Bunchy Carter and John Huggins at the University of California, and involvement in the murder of Fred Hampton, leader of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party in 1969. So this is also documented, you know. You want to talk about documentation. This has also been documented. Did they kick me down? Let's see if we still going, man. You know how it go when you get real heavy on it. Christopher Richard, shout out to you, man. I'm looking for my let's see here. We're still getting the subs, but oh, hold on. Mustafa Al-Zorbier. Where did it go? Oh, here we go. Okay. All right, we're still live. Yeah, man. So yeah, not definitely can't read all of that. It's a lot of people getting emotional about the content, and that's cool. Yeah, man. It's it's so many things that have been documented. So yeah, I mean, the fact that people are talking, that's fine. Have your judgment. But it also leads me to believe that people get extremely emotional about situations like this because in order to, once again, provide some type of reparations, some restitution, some involvement in the black community, they have to first acknowledge that they were the ones that created the problem, man. All right? I think that should be one of the reasons why we should receive it. But people want to argue us down. You even got black men now like, hey, we shouldn't be getting reparations. Like, okay, that's a lot of that is people's opinions, right? But for the most part, it doesn't mean that it doesn't stand the way that it was. You've got plenty of documentation showing where black people were misled, misguided, mistreated, miseducated, all types of things, but we want to argue that. And for y'all not to be racist, y'all sound pretty racist when you be talking to black people about reparations. That's all the fuck I'm saying. Plain and simple.
The family. We're no longer elevating staying with the person that you're with.
But I'm not reading all that, y'all. Y'all just have fun in the chat.
Systemic racism stuff is a bunch of rubbish. Instead,
a lot of people
it's
getting
systemic
emotional.
bad choices.
Do you feel that systemic racism isn't real?
Of course not. What can I do that you can't do? Name it.
Okay.
No, seriously. What?
I know. So get your racist ass out the chat. And when you say stupid shit like that, you getting the fuck up out my track. Y'all got to get out of here with that. See, man, that's what I'm saying, though. So y'all are kind of acknowledging that's the bullshit that y'all be on, okay? And it's unfortunate. See, instead of saying shit like that, it would make more sense to say, nah, you know what? My people fucked up.
What can I do that you can't do?
That's a slippery slope.
No, it's not.
I don't know why.
Very simple. No, because back in 1940, you would have been able to answer that question. Well, Charlie, there's a bathroom over there that I can't go to. There's a major league team.
I can't.
There's a bathroom I can't go to. So that was just 60 years ago. You couldn't even go to the same bathroom as a white man. I think y'all just don't like the history part of it. I think that y'all are embarrassed by the fact that y'all families did that type of did those types of brutal things to black people, man. What about all of the raping and the pillaging of our communities? Y'all don't think that lasts for hundreds of years, even more? Our people will still be dealing with this when I'm long dead and gone, bro. Straight up and down. I think y'all getting too hell-bent on it because it's your family. You have to go listen to your grandmothers and grandfathers talk about all that disrespectful shit about black people. Not me. My people be talking about, damn, why they do us like that? Remember, we're the compassionate ones, okay? We were the ones that were told to be compassionate. We were the ones that, let y'all come in and take our shit. For some reason, I don't know why, but y'all just don't want to admit that shit, do you?
Walk into the grocery store and get the same looks that you do. I walked into Brookshire Brothers a couple weeks ago and I was looked at.
That's an insanely hyper-paranoid way of living life. But that's not evidence, right?
It's a real example.
By the way, if I walk into a black neighborhood, I get bad looks too, okay? So I don't know what the contention is.
Bringing us to this beautiful country. Get your ignorant, not knowing shit ass up out of here. Because I think we were already here, bro. Okay?
The way you treat our culture.
That's also the conversation y'all don't want to have. But we'll continue to have it over here. I think we were already over here, man. As for you all, I think y'all brought y'all ass over here fucking with us. How about that? It's a lot of hate in the comments, man. It's a lot of hate in the chat. Of being a productive citizen. Didn't I just say I work, I take care of my family? I'm a working class citizen, bro. I pay taxes. What are you talking about? See, people like this, you know, they said that, you know, that freedom of speech thing that we've been arguing about a lot lately. People like that, they'll just say anything and don't know what the hell they talking about. How you think I got all this equipment and shit? I'm able to talk to you, brother. I went and paid for it with my hard-earned dollars. I ain't no criminal, bro. I'm a hard-working black man. Oh, yeah. Are you upset about that, too? Most definitely, man, you know. And I'm not spewing hate. This is far from hate, okay? But I see there's obviously a lot of hate in those comments. It's brewing. That's what's brewing in America. Just be honest about it. It makes more sense. You know, take the mask off. Keep the mask off, you know. Let us see who you really are. Thrive more than our black community. This is my honest question. Thank you. Well, pay and then ask me again. Okay. Obviously, they stick together, right? Why do black people not stick together? Somebody give me that. Why do black people not stick together in America? If we have equal opportunity and we knew what we were doing before integration and we're fully capable of doing it, why aren't we doing it? That's the question you should be asking. Okay. Why aren't we doing it? And why do we always want to go with the black man for it? We don't want to go with the person who created the problem. We only want to go with the people who acknowledge the problem. See, we're acknowledging it. Yeah, our communities are fucked up. Our communities are fucked up, okay? But why can't black men get along? Can anybody answer me that? Since y'all want to keep, y'all keep want to talk about education and all that stuff. Let's look at this right here. We can bring up things, man, you know. Mr. Willie Lynch letter is an address purportedly delivered by William Lynch or to an audience on the bank of the James River in Virginia in 1712 regarding control of slaves with the colony. In recent years, it has been widely exposed as a hoax. Oh no, I got another one too. Let's see here. Israel Cohen. Got something else right here too. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. It's a lot. It's a lot of things you can go do your research on and find out why black people don't. We must realize our party's most powerful weapon is racial tension. By propounding into the consciousness of the dark races that for centuries they have been oppressed by the whites, we can mold them in the program of the Communist Party. In America, we will aim for subtle victory. While inflaming the Negro minority against the whites, we will endeavor to instill in the whites a guilt complex for their exploitation of the Negroes. We will aid the Negroes to rise in prominence in every walk of life, in the professions and in the world of sports and entertainment. With this prestige, the Negro will be able to intermarry with the whites and begin a progress which will deliver America to our cause. And what's that all about? I think that it just hurts. It just sizzles at the core. All right, and that has nothing to do with me, man. I'm just the messenger over here. Okay. I don't promote hate speech. I don't promote hate, violence. I'm a working man, bro. Like I said, I work my ass off. You know, I'm not one of those people, but you know. Because I sound, bro. Why are you still in here, man? Damn. Like, bro, move around. I sound so crazy. You just sound like you just hate black people, bro. Unfortunately, and I'm gonna say allegedly. But no, you can't do that with me, man. Somebody sit in somebody chat and, talk about why we're not doing this, why we're not doing that. Now, how about that? Let's keep it going, man. Jesus Christ, yo. See, they get to talk about it, they get to cheer and parade, but when you on the other side of the spectrum, then it's an issue, man. Y'all are too, yeah, it's typical, man. I'm not even gonna say y'all, but it's a lot of typical people, man. MAGA people having
wait, hold on. The way we treat your culture, we have gone to such great calisthenics and ridiculous gymnastics to prove that we're not racist. In fact, it's the worst
cognitive dissonance on display here today. Man, get out of here, man. You think you know, but you really have no idea.
Be called in America. We had during George Floyd 2020, we had hundreds of millions of dollars given to Black Lives Matter. I don't know where that money went. Did it improve material worth of Black America? So I mean,
material worth of Black America.
You know where it went actually, and so, but don't.
I think it went to a few Black people, not all Black people. But that was your way of saying you was giving up reparations? Is that what that was? Man, of course, BTB Grilla, for real, man.
Going back to your main contention, when you practice DEI,
you gotta let them just be great,
thing, right?
You gotta you gotta let the people that rather argue and fight with you be great, man. You gotta let them be great, bro. Because obviously that's all they getting out of the conversation. You know what I'm saying? They'd rather be, fighting and arguing and battling with you instead of saying, hey, we fucked up. See, that lets you know that it's one of those situations. It's not one of those situations where, hey, we fucked up, we want to make it right. You know how you fuck up with a person? And see that type of talk right there, I'd expect some progress. Yeah, we were making progress. Didn't you just hear me read about the Black Messiah, man? You didn't hear me just read about the Black Messiah, did you? A counterintelligence program created by the Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You didn't hear me,
Rewarding bad culture. You even acknowledge it. You are saying that someone should be there based on the color of their skin. We say skin color doesn't matter. If you want that position, work harder, study harder, and then you might be able to.
I think it's too intense. People are getting very or extremely. Let's go to this. Shooting at Michigan church kills at least 2 people and injures 8, police say. A gunman opened fire inside of a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints chapel in Michigan during a Sunday service and set the building ablaze, killing at least 2 people and injuring 8 others. Police shot him, authorities said. Hundreds of people were inside the church in Grand Block Township when a man rammed a 4-door pickup with 2 American flags in the truck bed through the front door, then got out of the vehicle and started shooting. Police Chief William Rainey told reporters investigators believe he deliberately set the building on fire, Rainey said. Officers responded to a 9/11 call and were at the church within 30 seconds and killed the shooter about 7 minutes later. After the suspect left the church, 2 officers pursued him and engaged in gunfire, the chief said. Flames and smoke could be seen pouring from the church for hours, I'm reading like at a distance. Before the blaze was put out. Rain identified the suspect as Thomas Jacob Sanford, 40, from neighboring Burton. Rain did not specify a motive at a news conference on Sunday evening. Police cordoned off the street leading to the suspect's home. Rain said one of the wounded people was in critical condition Sunday evening and 7 others were stable. Earlier in the day, Rain has said authorities believe they would find more victims once they could sift through the wreckage and find where the fire was. Man, let's see if we can get some video on this. That's pretty wild. Okay, I think we got a news video right here.
We're going to go now to a live news conference with more information.
Township Fire Chief Genesee County Sheriff's Department Sheriff Chris Swenson, and MSP, Michigan State Police Captain Greg Marenko. I'm going to provide an update from the incident that we spoke about earlier today that occurred at the Church of Jesus Christ.
Let's get the likes up, man. Let's get to 500 likes.
Latter-day Saints at 10:25 a.m. I want to talk about our officer's response. That call came out at 10:25 a.m. and 32 seconds. We had officers on scene at 10:25 and 57 seconds. The suspect, again, we're in the preliminary stages right now, was neutralized at 10:33:44 in the parking lot of that church. That suspect is a 40-year-old male from the city of Burton, who we identified as Thomas Jacob Sanford. That's Thomas Jacob Sanford, S-A-N-F-O-R-D. Currently where we're at, an update, I gave you 10 victims who were...
Hey, man, this country was built off racism, right? So I expect it, you know. Even when they you know, try to go real deep into, like, trying to prove that you're wrong and you need to be more educated. Well, damn. Doesn't that prove what the hell I'm saying then? Doesn't that prove my point at that point? Like, you're basically saying, you're basically spewing all of the rhetoric of the media and all of the people who were former racists or their current racists, right? You know, like, that's what it proves to me. It proves to me that it can't be, you know, ridden of itself, because you have to first acknowledge that shit, man. You know? Express yourself. A lot of people are expressing themselves about within hate, racism. They're telling you where you should be in America. And you know what? I travel around America a lot, man. And from what I see, yeah, a lot of white people are misplaced, you know, fucked up or whatever in America too. So I'm not talking about your race. I'm not talking about your race. I'm talking about my race, okay? So the fact that they want to bring up their race because they've been misplaced in their country or whatever, or displaced, excuse me, that's them, you know what I'm saying? But for my people, I'm going to speak for my people. Whether or not I get people talk shit back to me or whatever the case is, because as you can see, they got a lot of shit to say. You know, it was just, the comments was flowing at that point, you know, so I get it. Have at it, you know, and that's why they hide behind those avatars a lot of the time. And I understand people hiding behind avatars, but a lot of times when you see people talking like that and hiding behind avatars, it lets you know what you're dealing with, man. So it's already expected. I grew up in the South, you know what I'm saying? So I already know what it looked like. But the fact that people don't want to acknowledge it gives me everything I need to know about that person, all right?
Of gunshot. Since then, we have 2 victims who are now deceased. One additional one had died at a local hospital. And again, that suspect is deceased as well. 7 other victims at this time are in stable condition. 1 is in critical condition. Now, for the reunification, I had a question earlier about, hey, where can
let's get 10
call
subs.
to see if their loved one is okay at the reunification center. I want to provide a number for you for that. It's 248-705-7352. Also, I know that our community is hurting right now, and we want to provide some resources for our community moving forward. At the Genesis Athletic Club in Grand Blanc for Monday and Tuesday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., we will have services for the community. From Wednesday to Friday, those services will be available to our community at the Grand Blanc Senior Center. That's all I have for now. I will give you another update, another press conference at 8 p.m. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click
Burning
here
up
to
a church is
subscribe
crazy work, man. That's unfortunate. My heart goes out to all of those, you know, survivors and the people that have lost their life. Prayers up to their family, man. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate. It's fucked up that people, you know, go around doing stuff like this. You know, so like I said, I sympathize with those people. I empathize with them as well. I don't spew hate. I don't spew racism. I'm just aware. You know what I'm saying? You have to be aware. I think that It's extremely unfortunate. Charlotte had a situation like that, 3 shootings, and I don't know if they were black, white, whatever the case may be. Even if they were black, my heart goes out to the survivors of that as well, or the people that lost their lives. It happens like that, man. So a lot of this stuff doesn't even get, brought up. So a shooting at a hotel in Charlotte, 37-year-old Tierra Love, Tory Jackson, and then Darius D. Marshall. Yeah, it was 3 shootings in Charlotte. It's a lot of that going on in America right now. You know what I'm saying? And so I could never look at a situation where people going around hurting and killing people, man, and say, yeah, this is how we get down. I don't get down like that, man. Never wanted to get down like that. Never, ever said that I was that type of person. I'm a working man. I have children. I have a woman. I don't fucking move like that, okay? So for that to be the rhetoric for our communities just lets me know that there is an agenda against our people. And the people that fall for it, they kind of expose themselves when they come to that type of shit. So either that's the type of person you are, or it's not. You know what I'm saying? What it do, Rush Rare? Salute to you, bro. Man, I needed a damn mod in here about 10 minutes ago. Oh man, but it is unfortunate, man. And then there was another mass shooting in North Carolina. I'm gonna say this is off the banks because they said it was a guy that pulled up in he pulled up in a boat. This guy pulled up in a boat. Where is it at?
Coming from a subject on the boat, possibly in the Southport Marina.
Deadly gunfire targeted diners at American Fish Company in Southport, North Carolina.
Southport, North Carolina. Brunswick County Sheriff, Fire, and EMS.
6 people down. Investigators say around 9:30 Saturday, the suspected shooter opened fire from a boat into the crowd gathered at the waterfront bar and grill.
We observed a boat sitting out front, which was just odd that be sitting right there.
Nearby business owner Todd Weaver told us he spotted a boat in the water moments before the shooting started.
I hunkered against that wall. Everybody else was running out. And I called 911 as fast as I could. As soon as
most definitely, I got
bullet
you.
stopped, I was going in, seeing the boat
Shout out
go
to all
down
the
the
new
intercoastal
subs.
waterway with no lights on.
Today, authorities said the suspected shooter is Nigel Edge, a combat veteran living with PTSD. Police claim the 40-year-old gunman escaped the scene on boat heading toward Oak Island, a nearby coastal town where he lived. The Coast Guard later arrested Edge at a public ramp.
This is highly premeditated from what we're seeing at this time, and we feel there are no other threats to our community, that we do have someone in custody.
Edge is facing numerous charges, including 3 counts of first-degree murder and 5 counts of attempted first-degree murder. He's set to face a judge on Monday. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Southport, North Carolina.
Prayers up to that, to those survivors and the families that were harmed in that situation, man. So yeah, I mean, even with all of the things, that's going on, yeah, you said it's between Myrtle Beach and Wilmington. That's crazy. Yeah, I ain't never heard of that part of North Carolina. Had already been shot in the head in combat. Yeah, so he was definitely dealing with some shit, man. That's unfortunate. I'm gonna say that's probably one of the realest mass shootings, because some of these things do be looking a little skeptical in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But something like that looks like is one of those definitive moments where it's like, wow, So prayers up to those survivors and those victims, man. Yeah, most definitely, man. Shout out to all of the new subs. Let's get 500 likes by the end of this video. If you want to support the channel, like I said, the link is at the top of the chat. I'm gonna also drop this. And we're getting real soon to having memberships and stuff. That way we can kind of go a little deeper into content and conversation about subjects like this, because it gets a little more complex than what, has been provided in the chats or whatever like that. But we definitely got up to 1,400. This is not a hate channel. This is not a racist channel at all, And I'm speaking to YouTube if they're listening. I do not promote violence. I don't promote hate. I don't promote none of that stuff over here. Anything you see over here is educational and for entertainment purposes, and we're just reacting. Hopefully, people can get past their hateful ways and they'll spewing all of that into the minds of children, because those are the people that are affected. They see it and they want to react it. They want to react to those types of things. This is learned behavior, okay? This is what we're dealing with in America, and we just have to find a way to, flip the switch on that. Other than that, it's your boy L Boogie Reacts. Hug your loved ones, let them know, because obviously tomorrow's never promised. Stay prayed up. Other than that, we up out of here. Until next time, stay tuned for more content, for more reactions. And just like that, we gone.